Jai.
Antakoti Vaishnava ki
Jai.
Antara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki
Jai.
Atara Gaur Premanandi. All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare.
All glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Guru Shri Guru Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today morning we are reading from Canto 3 entitled Status Quo, Chapter 22, entitled The Glories of Devotional Service, text number 24. Can you read this? Text 24. Ta eta sadava sadvi
Tayete sadvi
sarva sangha vivarjitaha
Sarva Sangha Vivarjitaha
Sangastesha patate pranatya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
Sangha dosha hara hite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Aeta sadava sadvi
Tayete Sadava Sadvi
sarva sangha vivarjitaha
Sarva Sangha Vivarjitaha
Sangastesha patate pratya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
Sangha dosha hara hite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Aeta sadava sadvi
Tayete Sadava Sadvi
sarva sangha vivarjitaha
Sarva Sangha Vivarjitaha
Sangastesha patate pratyaya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
Sangha dosha hara hite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Tayete sadva sadvi
Tayete Sadva Sadvi
sarva sango vivarjita
Sarva Sangha Vivarjita
sangasteshu athate prarthaya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
sanga dosha harahite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Tayete sadava sadvi
Tayete Sadva Sadvi
Sangha vivarjita
Sarva Sangha Vivarjita
Swadhi Partya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
Dosha harahite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Tayete sarva sadvi
Tayete Sadva Sadvi
Sarva sangha vivarjita
Sarva Sangha Vivarjita
Sangasteshu atate pratyita
Sangasteshvate Pratya
Sangha dosha harahite
Sangha Dosha Harayite
Tayete sarva sadvi
Tayete Sadva Sadvi
sarva sangha vivajitah
Sarva Sangha Vivarjita
sangaste satate pratya
Sangasteshvate Pratya
sangha dosha harahite
Sangha Dosha Harayite Tayete Sadva Sadvi Sangadosharayate.
Word to word translation. Te, those very, sadhava, devotees, sadhvi, virtuous lady, sarva, all, sangha, attachments, vivarjita, freed from, sangha, attachment, teshu, unto them, ata, hence, te, by you, pratyaya, must be sought, sangha dosha, the pernicious effects of material attachments, Hara, counteractors of, he, indeed, te, they. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachments. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Purport. It's a long purport, so little attentive is good. Purport. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verse 5, it is stated who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. It is said there, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich, opulent or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor or any such consciousness is in connection with material existence is false, because this body itself is false or temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first of all be freed from the association of the three modes of nature. Our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Jita Sangha Dosha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. Here also, in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, this is confirmed. A pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific and other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness, but there is no association which helps one to get free from all material association. If anyone has reached a stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become freed from all material association. Because a devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. How is it possible? There is a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kitten in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus,
both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different condition. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas when the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat, the rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhava or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic person and seek the association of person engaged in Krishna consciousness. And by such association, he will benefit in spiritual advancement. By their words and instruction, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'd like to seek the blessings of all devotees. I want to speak on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, especially this section is having way beyond my comprehension of association of pure devotees. So here the first part of Prabhupada explaining about the attachment for sadhus. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada quote that verse, it says, those who are free from false prestige, illusion and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So, one who is free from this false prestige, because generally then the Krishna has many energies. So basically there is two, which is one is Purusha and one is Prakriti. So Purusha means that is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And those who imitating or those who want to be like God, they are also addressed as Purusha. For example, ourselves. Even though we are part of material nature, we are known as Prakriti. We have to be enjoyed by Krishna, but we want to take over the position of enjoyer. And this is the definition of conditioned life. When you say conditioned life means, even though we have to be enjoyed by Krishna, but we want to take over the position of an enjoyer and we want to imitate like a Purusha, like God. So in that, is a delusion that we want to control the matter. We want to control the prakriti. We want to control the material nature. And automatically that pride comes in. So the pride in Prabhupada, in that purport of that Bhagavad Gita, he explained this is the surrendering process. So surrendering process means that if he is having that pride, then it's very difficult for oneself to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So pride means, is a saying, Prabhupada explained, that expecting the honor, expecting one, to be honored. And even though if you see the moment, the time frame which we are in this material world is very, very insignificant and negligible. And within that time, we want to control that whole material nature, which is eternal in a sense. And and to facilitate that, there is a pure illusion given to us that we are controlling this material nature. So with that delusion, and so then the pride is increasing. And of course, by association of this material, then we have this faulty association. So Prabhupada said that this faulty association binds one to this material world. So as long as we are having this kind of mood, then we will be staying in this material world, and it's difficult to go out. And to understand that, we see in this section that earlier Devahuti is admitting herself that enough of this frustration. I had enough of this material, seeking towards this material pleasure, want to enjoy and want to control. Enough. I want to be relieved from this. So if one can understand that this material world is not making happy or maybe suffering, and side by side, when it's developing the attachment to Krishna or getting the taste to understand spirituality, then our goal, our human form is being utilized very nicely. Because if one can understand that this place is giving misery, and at the same time understanding that we are not able to fit here, and trying to understand the destination of one's life, where we're going to end or where we're going to go after death or something, then we are using the purpose of life. Not only we are using the human form of life, which is very rare. Otherwise, we are just wasting this human form of life. These two things are very important actually. To trying to understand the spiritual and trying to get the taste for spiritual life, and understanding this place and getting nicely beaten up. So these two are, it actually help us. That just saying that this place is not good, this place is full of suffering, this is not going to help us, because other philosophies are also there. They reject this place. They say this place is not good. Just saying that, what we're going to get benefit. But that should be the impetus to get attraction to Krishna. That should be the impetus to push us to get the taste of spiritual life. Then the combination is good. And here, as I said, this attachment to material is actually the samsara. The samsara, Prabhupada writes in earlier Prabhupada, the samsara bandha means that is the relation between Purusha and Prakriti. How they are related, that is samsara bandha. And as I said, we want to take over the position of enjoyer, but our dharma is different. The dharma is to serve. To serve that is like, want to be the eternal constitutional position is, we are the servant of Krishna. And by attaching, what we going to get? For example, we are attaching with the material existence or material nature, we only develop lust and greed, which the base qualities comes up. When we see things, I was with one of a person, and this person, I was driving, he was there with me. He's a student. So is a moment, you see, when driving, you see cars. Oh, this car, I would like to have this car. I wanted this car. then I think there was a new model, something which runs only in no petrol or battery. He was glorifying on and on. This person who created this car is the best, he's such a genius. He invested this much money. Tesla, like cars, they, this much cost, this much. Then I said, what is the point? Anyway, after death, you're going to leave everything. And we are not going to take anything with us. And, it's wasting the human form of life. Prabhupada said that, this is a costly tin. Cars means, it's a costly tin. Even, one time when devotees went to pick up Prabhupada, they went in a costly car. The reporter asked, you are a renunciant. Then Prabhupada said, actually they should have bought the car made out of gold. This is because a spiritual master means he is as good as God, but he is not God. We should treat him as good as God. We should see him because he is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is like the ambassador who are coming from the embassy. So we should treat him in such a way, And devotees did that. They take, risk which easily, even normal days we won't take that kind of risk. Sometime what happened, one past time I heard that, devotees going to airport to pick up Prabhupada, and when a devotee went there, he understood that airport was really busy. I think it's in Europe. It is really busy, and the parking and the security, they are not allowing anyone to stay even for a minute. And this devotee who was driving, the devotee who went to receive Prabhupada told clearly that you have to stay here. No matter what, you have to stay here, and when Prabhupada comes, we are going. And so he went off. So, and then he was little, scared because he cannot park here for a minute, or otherwise if you want to go for a round again, come and pick up, then, if Prabhupada come that time, then problem. So he, then the security, all, parking, there's an inspector and all there. So he went and parked. And there was a guy who was in charge, who was, looking. So he went straight up to him. He said, see, I'm in a difficult condition. You have to help me. He said, no, you have to go. Then he said, no, please understand. Can you imagine, this is a situation like this, that Jesus Christ is coming out of the airport and you have to pick him up. How do you feel like that? Then he's stunned. So this is the situation. He said, okay. Then he understood the seriousness of what he is telling, Then he waited, then Prabhupada came, and then he saw, then he also understood he's a great person. Then he got into the car and he thanked that guy, thank you very much for letting me to stay here. So you can imagine, so the devotees, in terms of, receiving, they got to that extent, So primarily this person was talking and going on, this greed and lust is, want to, because in material, now and then there is variety is given. Variety after variety after, same thing only. But they are also trying to give in a different shape, form and features just to make the curiosity increase so that we can burn, try to want to maybe different, maybe this is different, maybe this car, this feature, this color, that door, this door, one door, no door, different varieties, different model, different color, different feature, just to put so that we can thinking that okay, this is different from the other one, and this will definitely give me happiness. So they are also working on that. So this is only increasing our lust, want to enjoy, want to separately from Krishna. And then this consciousness, because of this, we are getting polluted by these modes. Our consciousness, for example, I was thinking for some time that we want to make our consciousness into Krishna consciousness. And our consciousness is polluted by three modes of material nature from time immemorial. We don't know how long, how many lives we have come here. And it's already been polluted. And on top of that, we should be careful what we are adding into our consciousness. It's like we are trying to light up the fire and putting water. So Prabhupada always says that Krishna consciousness and sense gratification go ill together. You cannot, one hand trying to add, so many material things into our consciousness and trying to develop Krishna in consciousness. That will not work out. We should be careful of what we are adding into our consciousness, because already there are so many things which we have to remove. So like, for example, if a water is polluted, we just have to remove the pollutant from the water, impurities, or you just add pure water continuously. So by then one time will come, then this whatever impurities, it will become negligent and it will almost equal to pure water. So similarly, if our consciousness is filled with this material thing and three modes there, if we continuously add Krishna into our consciousness, making personal endeavor of putting Krishna in our consciousness, then obviously we are trying to think of Krishna, remember Krishna. If there is no possibility of remembering Krishna, then there is no possibility of feeling separation from Krishna. Because remembering Krishna means we have to make some endeavor. Because naturally our mind, our consciousness is running towards the material things. So we have to make our endeavor to we have to be careful also what we are adding into our consciousness. So that way we can take control of it. Because once you add it, then once already, if you suppose for example one impression or one thing which we have added into our consciousness, then it's very difficult to remove it. Then it again takes time. So Prabhupada here he says that to have that association, because this association of devotees can actually change this material association. So what is happening here is, for example, if we associate with materialistic person, there are different kinds of association. The more, for example, associating directly with sense object is one level, and there is more dangerous if you are associating with someone who is very attached to the sense objects. Because if a person is attached to a sense, for example, you say that, for example, if you are attaching to opposite sex is okay, in the sense, the damage, comparatively, if you are associating a person who is always talking about opposite sex, then he is more damaging. How is that? Because when we associate with such person, then there is a transfer of seed from his heart to our heart. It's like contagious. So whatever he wants to, liking or something, then we associate, then definitely our consciousness, the seed is planted in our heart as well. We develop this, okay, I also, should have tried this. I should have also bought this. It would have been good for me. Maybe I should, but what to do? I cannot do. Like that, this is developing. So Prabhupada always says, if you want to be drunkard, just associate with drunkard. Because when you associate, for example, in this case, if a person is drunkard, and if you associate, he always talk about drinking. He always talk about different brands. He always talk about what it will make to us. When we drink this, how much is the mixer, where did you get, where I bought, how much is the cost, where is the discount, which place gives brand, where I get online or not, which is the discount, buy one get. So he always talks about this. Then you also think, okay, it must be making sense to him, then it must be making sense for me as well. He's sharing his experience. He is actually preaching. So similarly, if we are associating with the sadhu, if we are associating with the devotees, then when they open their mouth, because Krishna is there in their heart. Krishna is there in the heart, so that actually, when they open their mouth, that means that from the heart, actually they are transferring Krishna to the people who are listening. So here, so that Revati, saying that I'm anxious to hear. I'm anxious to hear about this topic, about this principle, about this devotional service, because I've got really frustrated. And interesting enough that she says, "Oh Lord, you are the cause for me to enjoy this material thing." I'll that one minute. So she says, like, you are. She says, okay, you are responsible for what I am undergoing. For example, I was thinking this example. Say, suppose, she also says this abyss, deep hole. Suppose a person in the deep well, deep dark well or something, and someone is looking, and then they're putting the rope. And this person is saying, okay, you are the reason who pushed me. Why did you push me? And he's saying, no, rope is there, please come out, like that. No, I want to know. So suppose if we think, okay, this blame game is there. We are, okay, God, we always say, especially when comes an obstacle in enjoying sense gratification for oneself, or by extended oneself, then we try to blame God. Here a devotee is also telling this is indirectly your arrangement, but he is taking shelter of the Lord, because indirectly your arrangement, but you can lift me out of this well. And non-devotee is saying, no, I will not catch the rope, I will not come out, I won't try to understand. Even if we know that voluntarily a jiva, a soul, wants to enjoy separately and forget Krishna, the moment it does, then the Maya captures. And only one person who can lift out of this condition is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is always there. He is saying, okay, catch the rope, I can lift you up. So, if a person is thinking that he is only obstructing myself from enjoying, then it's a difficult problem. And not only that, for example, after this association of devotees, which is the purpose of Prabhupada says here that ISKCON, if you see the 7 purpose of ISKCON, Prabhupada has given this purpose before he has started this movement. So one of the purpose is to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus developing the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. So this is one of the purpose of ISKCON, where everyone come together and associate and chant and hear about Krishna, glorify Krishna. By coming into association of a sadhu, then devotees, then automatically next step is engagement in the service of the Lord. The sadhu talks about that, engages oneself and engages others also in the service of the Lord. Because by engaging the senses, by engaging the mind and the senses in the service of the Lord, the mind gets purified. When we ask how to purify this consciousness, okay, we have this material consciousness, how we can purify this consciousness? So Prabhupada writes this step in the purport that to purify the consciousness, one has to purify the mind. When the mind is purified, then the consciousness is purified. Then how to purify the mind? Then the purification of mind happens when one engages in the service of the Lord. That when one engages the senses and the mind in the service of the Lord, then automatically the mind gets purified. So then one may argue that if a person in a devotee engaging in the service of the Lord, but still is experiencing a trouble, since he is experiencing the misery, there are so many rules and regulations. Then the senses restrict the senses from sense objects. So difficult. They are also going to difficulty. Yes, but the devotee is feeling the happiness because he is feeling the presence of Krishna. A devotee misery He's undergoing struggle, to associate, to engage the senses in the service of the Lord, but at the same time, he can feel the reciprocation of Krishna by his having his happiness. He can feel the presence of Krishna. So that way, sometimes we also feel by rejecting Maya's demand and we engaging in Krishna's service, we feel happy. And actual pleasure comes from that. When we do Krishna's service, when we are, saying no to Maya's demand and then involving in Krishna's service, sometimes that will be, that we feel automatically pleasure. We don't need anything external in that endeavor. And now, even a devotee, sometimes his devotional service and the mood is so pure, even he rejects liberation. He doesn't want to liberate. Because, we have this verse also that, Sistastakam, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying is that all I want is devotional service. I don't want anything, any wealth or any woman or any fame or followers. All I want is, devotional service. And that to birth after birth. Such a devotional desire, you're having this spiritual desire. This is desire, right? If you say, I want only devotional service, birth after birth, it's like a fully pure and devotional desire. That is what, a devotee is, want to do, and that attracts Krishna's mercy. So when the mind is purified and we get this consciousness also purified, what happened? Because, for example, if we are association with material energy and we developing this lust and greed, and we want to get freedom of that, we engage in devotional service. What happened? What happened to person who are engaging in devotional service? For them, they perceive completely different. For example, we in Burjan Prabhu writes in Surrender, unveiling his lotus feet, he gives this example that suppose we are going to a movie or a drama or an act or something, the actors are performing the character so nicely. There will be a central character, a hero or someone, and he is acting in such a way. Actually, the audience are carried away by that. When a hero is victory or something, we get emotional, and when he is undergoing something, we are get into depression and sad and everything. I used to remember my grandmother was there. We used to watch the television. Always at the climax, she will be crying. He is a hero, heroine, something is there, and I always ask, why you are crying? You don't understand. You just watch. She always cry. Even me, one time, I used to go to film and everything. I used to get excited because of hero, acting that chivalrous and like kind of a heroic character. We get moved away. But what is actually happening? Because of the strong identification with that, we also undergoing. If a normal person also undergo, but for a devotee, he doesn't identify. He knows the real nature of himself, and he also knows the absolute truth. This is Maya's drama, where it gets carried away by this. But for a devotee, he knows. He doesn't see as such. He sees separately, completely different from this. Actual reality. This is just a drama. This is not the reality. Why I should be, going through this emotional, kind of thing. So he is completely aloof from that. And then what happened when we see that that is a kind of sadhu, devotees are doing, then this section after that saying that we have to attach to a person who is perceiving like that, then Kapila Muni gives the detail of who is that person. who is a sadhu. So when you want to attach to a person, so he gives the person or the characteristics of a sadhu. So he gives the definition of a sadhu. So he gives the qualities of the sadhu. So by knowing the quality, we get attracted to that person. The real beauty is the quality of a person where we get attracted. And this that one of the quality in is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, devotional service. He's always in samadhi because he's always engaging. He doesn't want to waste time. Without wasting time, and you want to engage in that activities of Krishna consciousness, that action is actually in full samadhi. And one of the, then he is so compassion, we heard that Karunika, merciful, compassion, because he is always thinking for others. He want to make sure that they don't spoil their human form of life. He is not only interested only about his liberation or he want to go back, but he wants to help others as well. And he even renounces all the obligation. When a person is going into this material world, he got so much of obligation. You know that, right? He got obliged to his parents and, demigods and, the animals and so many. If a person is renouncing obligation out of sense gratification, means he will get punished from the law of nature. Even now someone, renouncing their parents, renouncing, their duty or something for their own sense gratification, then the law of nature will not leave them spare, it will not leave them simply. They will get punished. But if a sadhu is living his obligation, family, social, culture, tradition, whatever, so many obligations there, he is living and he is engaging in the service of Krishna, then he is not entitled for punishment. Because his pure is engaging, he is renouncing that kind of activities because he purely wants to help others to bring closer to Krishna. Even that also is not self-motivated. He is renouncing all the social duties and everything because he is on a mission. He wants to help. He wants to help others to bring closer to Krishna, which is quite, very attractive, right? And this not only one of the thing that. For example, we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, advance in spiritual, then we have to take this association with these people, because here the Devahuti and Kapila Muni, the thing is, because Devahuti know that I have got this attachment to material, and you are the only person who can cut. You got the axe, you got the weapon, and you can actually cut this attachment. And similarly, but if we want to advance, then we associate with these people, even association of devotees, because they cut our material attachment. If we, for example, many times, if we in association of devotees, then actually it is beneficial for us. Because devotees, they correct each other. They say, it is not good. Then we know. Even though it may be hurting for our false ego, but that is a good way. Because where else you will find that someone is genuinely caring for yourself? I mean the soul. No one, because most of the time, people value their relationship more than to affect, they value their individual relationship. They'll think, what if that person say, if I tell something like this, he will not talk to me, or he will not, he will be, I will be in his bad books. But devotees, they genuinely care. They say, Prabhu, you are doing something like this is not good. Then we understand, okay, I have to correct it. So, among devotees, association means is actually our main protection. So when, as I said, when the seed is transferred, in Chaitanya Charitamrita also it talks about the Bhakti Lata Beach, and this Bhakti Lata Beach is protected by the fence, and this fence represents the association of devotees. Without the association of devotees, then we will not be protected from this allurement of Maya. And by individual, it is very difficult to overcome. And here, the last section of this purport, Prabhupada compares this, that even the previous verse, at the end of the section, we talk about the forgetfulness and remembrance. Even though both is coming from Krishna, if a forgetful of Krishna, then one has to undergo material miseries. Otherwise, if one remembering Krishna means he can forget about material miseries. So it's our you can say choice. And then how do we Prabhupada compare that cat catching a rat and a kitten. When a person is surrendered to Krishna or remembering Krishna, even though the material misery is coming, it's not affecting him. He is not undergoing so much of difficulty because of this problem, because he knows this is just a misery which is causing to my body. So he compares that how others feel when the forgetfulness of Krishna means is like the death blow, how the rat feels in the mouth of a cat. So we take even this section, the next verse is also famous verse. So we take this association, and this association is given by Srila Prabhupada by forming this society. So Prabhupada writes there are many society, materialistic societies are there, mercantile, so many societies are there. The goal is that everyone come together and enliven each other and remember Krishna. So similarly, Prabhupada has created this movement where the whole world can live. He's made this arrangement so that all devotees can come together and talk and chant and hear about Krishna and enliven each other. So with that, I'll stop and check if there are any correction, comments, questions. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the very nice class.
Thank you.
About the association, I still remember I was in Germany, in Heidelberg.
Yeah.
And there was a devotee. He was just making a nice paste of chandan all the time and putting on the GD. So I still remember how much faith he has in Krishna, in Krishna service, that he captivates your mind. Not only his, but whoever was seeing him, it also gives. Second point, what you were saying, I was remembering a conference I went to Perth a few years back, and what they were talking was only different types of brands of whiskey and rum and all those silly things. I think what I have to do with these things? I was not at all interested. So I said, this is waste of time, waste of money, coming all the way from Sydney and then going to Perth. And in this conference, what they are teaching is how you should have nice wine, how you can get drunk. And on top of this, I'm not embarrassed to tell you, they were topless service. The girls coming there. So I said, this is horrible. So the continuity is very important. So the association with the sadhu san, and also if we take the what we call blessings of the superior authorities and or acharyas, previous acharyas, the mercy from previous acharya also helps a lot. So these two things are very important to concentrate and become Krishna conscious. So the two things we were discussing last night in Bhaktivedanta class also. Association with the sadhu, like Prabhupada, and the blessings from the acharyas. These two things go a long way for uplifting our consciousness. Because what you are saying is absolutely correct. Whatever we are seeing, if we are associated with a drunkard, naturally we will think about the drink.
Yeah.
And that thing comes in your mind like a seed,
Like a
and
seed.
you will think about it.
Yeah.
Somehow or the other. If not, while awake, if you sleep,
Yeah.
in dreams.
That's true.
So, association is most important. And Prabhupada has really made a house for the whole world to live. Very important. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
It's true.
So you mentioned a couple of qualities you mentioned quite a few qualities, and a couple of them are compassionate and renounced. And you mentioned he even renounced his family. Isn't it contradictory? Like, although he is compassionate, but he is renouncing his family. How do you understand that?
Because for a higher principle, higher goals, then lower goals can be given. Like in terms of, say, for example, he is renouncing one family to make the whole world into his family. So he can. That's what he is not renouncing just to enjoy himself. He is giving up family so he can travel world tour or something. That is not his goal. He is renouncing so that he wants to make a bigger family. That is, Krishna is the father of the family, and he wants to unite everyone to that family, to unite to his father, and that is his task. So by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone is pleased. In Bhāgavatam, that by serving the root of the tree, every branch and twigs of the trees get pleased. Similarly, by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone, family, ancestors, and demigod, because that the family, it is difficult. We should not, fanatically give up the responsibility and duty, thinking that I'm going to deliver the whole world. No, that is not the way. What one should do, take care of the, preach to family as well. But at a certain stage, if it is, for example, you are taking a responsibility to preach another, then one can give. And we have to also help our family. One should not just leave them, because we are indebted to them in this life at least, because we don't know, because it's like in a flight, if you're catching a flight or something, and a person is sitting next to you, then you may not see him again. But that's at moment travel in time, you may be close related. But then once you get off, then you don't know when you're going to meet. So similarly, we having a family, we having so we coming on a bad bodily according to our karma and everything. But as a spirit soul, we know that is Krishna is the father, seed-giving father, and material nature is avoiding the body. So, that is what. And a sadhu means, cut. So, okay. Yes, bro.
Sometimes when we know something is wrong, it's against the Buddha, and then mind is doing something like you. But at the same time, you have intelligence, okay, this is wrong, I shouldn't do it. But you still do it. Even though we say use your intelligence, that it's wrong. And you're saying when it's wrong, don't do it. But still, you still do that. How do you stop that?
Yeah, because in Bhagavad Gita it says that lust sits in intelligence, in mind and senses. There are three places sitting of the lust. The intelligence which we talk is about spiritual intelligence. Krishna says, use spiritual intelligence to come out of this force. Even Arjuna asking the same question, even though it's a wrong thing, I am forced to do. What is this thing? Krishna says, this is lust. It's the enemy. And Krishna says, by using spiritual intelligence, we can overcome this lust. So, in practical sense, we know if it is bad, and we also know what are the triggers which will, make us to do this thing. So, if we can watch out that triggers and avoid the situation, and avoid, and engage the mind in a Krishna conscious way, or by reading Srila Prabhupada books, your intelligence becomes spiritual intelligence. By reading Shastra, see this one, this is 3rd canto. Even here Prabhupada talks about the body and soul. If you go to 10th canto, there also Prabhupada talks about. So he hammers again and again that you are not this body, you are the spirit soul, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this point being given again and again, and we read these books, so our intelligence gets sharpened by this spiritual knowledge. So once we get intelligence of spiritual nature, then we know. We don't, when it is matter, material, when you're dealing with material, we know, okay, fine. This is nowhere going to please Krishna, or nowhere increase my devotion to Krishna. This is going to degrade myself, because that is the nature of the modes. If you are in goodness, then it's a matter of time, you will become passion, and then matter of time you will become ignorance. Because the nature of the 3 modes is that it will always pull you down. And it is, because you see lust, lust to anger. Lust is in the mode of passion, and after comes is the anger, that is mode of ignorance. But we are trying to push upward, that from passion we are trying to go to goodness by spiritual knowledge. So when the knowledge kicks in, then our intelligence becomes spiritual and we are elevating ourselves to goodness. So in terms of dealing in that provocating situation, we have to equip ourselves with this knowledge, and also we have to increase our sadhana or increase our chanting. As I said, increase our Krishna inputs, because we know the situation, when how the situation is going to come, and what I will do, what are the triggers. If I am doing this, then I will end up there only. So you try to consciously make an effort, make a plan. For example, we know we have to chant every day. And we know the trigger also. If I don't do this, I will end up chanting in late night, I won't chant also. So we plan accordingly, okay, we have to sleep early so that morning I'll get up and chant. Or, this time is there, this time I should not be, doing these activities. Or I should plan in such a way I'm getting this time so I can read books or I can chant. So you are planning. Otherwise, if that's not happening, then eventually you will be forced to do what material modes is dictating to you. So that way we can, be aware. So that's, I think that is it okay?
On that point also, goodness is also binding.
Yeah.
We should be Shuddha.
Yeah.
Shuddha means we can serve Krishna nicely. So we should not think of good, we think of Shuddha.
Yeah.
If we want to really do Krishna service.
Goodness, yeah. Okay, we'll stop here. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.